Time to chat some hockey.
Shot score! North Dakota wins!
The best college hockey writer in the country is on deck.
North Dakota, champions of the college hockey world!
Here's Brad Schlossman.
All right, we haven't had our UND hockey fix in a bit as we welcome back Brad Schlossman back from the Valley of the Sun, and we'll get to that in just a moment. UND with a big series tonight as we are middle of January. Western Michigan coming in. They are tied along with UND atop the NCHC standings. This is familiar to UND fans might be thinking, boy, they're just scuffling, they're not winning games, they're not stringing wins together, but yet they're sitting on top of the league standings. Brad, give us the 180-degree view here. How to evaluate where things are with this team right now.
Yeah, I think starting out non-conference, they had a little bit of a slow start there. There's a couple weekends that I'm guessing they're going to want back, mainly losing a couple games out at Cornell. And then what's made that even worse is, Cornell was a good team last year, and they had everybody but one guy back. And, when that happened, I thought this loss isn't going to hurt them a whole lot. Cornell's going to easily win the ECAC. Well, Cornell struggled. Now, they're like 500. And I did not see that coming. So that one hurt them a little bit. There's a couple non-conference games. I just think that right away in that first month that they're going to want back. As they've gotten further into the season, the team's gotten better and better. And they're slowly starting to win more and more games. I think they're 7-2-1 in their last 10 now. So they've come around. They're in first place, tied for first with Western and Arizona State in a really packed NCHC. I do want to point out Western Michigan has played 2 fewer games. Mm-hmm. So Western technically I would put in first, but UND's right there. I think when you look at I've been saying on shows like this, I'm guessing UND's probably the only team playing with all underclassmen on defense. They only had one upperclassman, and he had a season-ending injury in game 1 of the year. I finally did the research. This week I said, okay, I'm going to stop just saying this. I'm going to do the research to see how many teams are. I was right. UND is the only one of 64 Division I teams playing with only underclass defensemen. Now, when you do that, there's probably going to be some growing pains with a D-core that young, yep. And there were. Now these guys are starting to get older. Some of their young forwards are emerging, like Sasha Boisvert is becoming a big-time scorer for them. He scored the overtime winner at Arizona State. So you're starting to see the results turn. And I think you're going to continue to see some improvement of these younger players as the season goes on. The schedule is going to get harder too, though, on the flip side. But I think when you see the progress that's already happened, the fact that you could probably keep this D-core together, by and large for a year or two, mix in a guy like Sam Larilla next year, there's going to be, you've got to like where the team is starting to build now with some of these young players.
Anecdotally, this off the top of your head, how often do you run into a team not having any upperclassmen on the back line?
Well, I went back through UND's rosters and as far as I could, like 30 years, and it's never happened.
Wow. So there you go.
And a lot of the times that I found a couple teams that used basically one. Like they had a second one, but they were more often than not using one. And it was the same thing. Those teams really struggled in the first half. They came around in the second half. And then as that D-core became juniors and seniors, they were among the best teams in the country. So, and the example, the last time UND won a national championship, that was a D-core that had 4 juniors. Well, everyone forgets what happened their freshman year, that 11 games in, they were 4-7-1 or something like that, that they went through those growing pains too. Everyone remembers what Stetcher and Ledoux and Thompson and Osmus and those guys were when they were juniors. But everyone forgets that first half of their freshman year, they got thrown into the fire. Yeah. And it wasn't all smooth all the time.
Now that you're back, give us the review from Arizona State, first trip out there. I know we talked about it when they got into the league. It was going to be a must-stop for UND fans. Give us the review from your trip to Tempe.
Yeah, we had great weather. Funny enough, like the Arizona folks didn't think so. It was like 62. I walked to the rink on Friday, and it was like perfect temp. Like it's not too hot. it's not too cool. You just can wear like a long sleeve shirt and just be perfect. You're
Yeah.
not sweating. You're not, it's like fall. It's like North Dakota fall weather. I'm like, this is just perfect. And I walked by a parking attendant and I was like, how's it going tonight? And he goes, I am absolutely freezing right now. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
So, those folks didn't think it was great, but I did. Um, so we had some good weather. The arena, it reminds me a little bit of Shields Arena. It's about the same
Okay.
size. It's a bowl. It's got the student type seating on one end. It's got the bar seating around the top. So it's a lot of similarities there. I was surprised there is no um, natural light really coming in there. And that's become a thing with modern stadiums, is to have that. I don't know if that was intentional, if they thought, when things get warmer in Arizona, that might make the ice bad or something like
Yeah.
that. I've heard the ice conditions there are very, very good. Um, so. Yeah, it was that's kind of what the arena was like. The crowd at the games, it was about a 50-50 split. It made for a really fun atmosphere because you'd have the North Dakota fans chanting and then the Arizona State fans responding and kind of going back and forth. And it was just a really fun type of atmosphere. And I thought two pretty good hockey games as well.
That's the newest member. The member that's about to come is St. Thomas. We've got their AD, Phil Eston, coming on after you, Brad, and the news came down not unexpectedly that St. Thomas had its year of one more probation year revoked, so they're going to be eligible starting next year for postseason play, which means their first year in the NCHC will be their second year eligible of postseason play. How does this change things college hockey-wise, big picture, that they're now eligible? Is that a team that can steal a spot in next year's tournament?
I think so. I think they're one of the top teams in the CCHA. I know they're going through their ups and downs this year. I thought that team was going to win the league. I picked them first. It does not look like St. Thomas is going to win the league. So I still like the talent on that team. And I think now when you have, just think of the transfer portal here. And now you can tell transfers that you're bringing in next year that we can go to the NCAA tournament. So it might help the type of transfer they can get. Whereas if they were still not able to go, you recruit a guy who has 1 year of eligibility left and he says, I'm not sure if I want to go there. So I think now next year they can use that in recruiting and say, hey, we're eligible. We think we're going to go to the tournament next year. And that could be attractive to a player.
What's the best way to describe this weekend series in Grand Forks? It's the middle of January. We still got 6-7 weeks left of the regular season. Western Michigan, you mentioned, has played 2 less games. Is it big? How do you frame this weekend?
Yeah, we talked about where UND is in the standings right now. They're a team that has a chance to win the league title right now. They're in the mix. Honestly, not many teams are out of the mix. Right now, from first to eighth, it's 6 points. That means in one weekend, the 8th place team could catch the 1st place team because it's 6 points available. That's how tight everything is right now. Now, when we look at the national picture, UND has work to do. UND would not be in the NCAA tournament if it ended today. There's still 3 months of 2 months until selection Sunday, over 2 months. So there is time to make it up. These are the types of series that give you a chance to really make up ground because Western Michigan is in the top 10. So if you want to give me one word, I'd say opportunity. This is an opportunity for UND to start digging out of that hole. They maybe start is the wrong word because they've already started.
Yeah.
They're 7-2-1 in their last 10. It's an opportunity to continue to move in the right direction against a very good opponent that UND's going to have to try to find a way to break through against.
Yeah, give us Western Michigan. I don't know, had their number is the right way to describe it, but they've been good. What's been the magic formula that Western Michigan has been able to use?
Goaltending. That's been the X factor. And the other thing, Western's getting more scoring from across the lineup than I expected. The Broncos lost 7 of their top 9 scorers from last year, and Pat Frischweiler's teams have been able to find offense. And I thought, this time it's going to catch up to them. I don't see the transfers that they're bringing in, I think are good players. I don't think they're going to produce that much. and they've gotten some guys on their current roster to produce more than they thought they would too. Tim Washi, never thought he would score the way he's scoring. So they've got that. But really, when you look at their team, you have two goaltenders. They're splitting each night. Both are over 930 save percentage. This could be like a first in NCHC history at this point, where you could argue that Western Michigan has the all NCHC first team and second team goaltender. Like we would never even think of voting the same guy as first and second. That's like putting a quarterback on first and second team from the same college football team. Never happens. This actually could happen. That's how good both of them are playing. We'll probably see Cam Rowe tonight, and we'll see Hampton Slakinski on Saturday night. That's the way they've been going. I'm guessing they'll play one guy each night. Pat Frischweiler told me they are going to play one guy each night. They just don't know which night. I'm assuming Rowe. I didn't ask him, but they've done Rowe Slakinski all year long. So why would you change now?
I have a couple last things here, not UND related. Ovechkin scored again last night. He's at 874. He's 21 shy, I think, now of Gretzky. And I know hockey is where it is in the national picture, but is this going to get any steam? He's going to pass Wayne Gretzky for the all-time goal-scoring record, which I don't know if anybody thought that would ever be touched. He might do it this year.
Yeah. No, once you get within, 5 goals, you'll start really hearing it.
Okay. I hope so.
In the hockey world, they're definitely doing the countdown. But I think it becomes a really big mainstream story as he gets with he's still a few months out from that, maybe, right? Like it might not even happen this year. But once it gets closer, there's going to be quite a bit of buzz on it. It's crazy to break the record. I think what people aren't even talking about this whole thing, scoring is much lower than when Gretzky played.
Yeah, correct.
Like that makes it even more impressive that this is an era where teams are not winning 7-6 games that often. So that makes it even more impressive to me. That's why I thought the record was unbreakable. Not only because he's so good, Gretzky was great, but it's like just the current modern era of college hockey. You don't score that much, or pro hockey, all levels of hockey.
And I'll throw in too, they had the lockout that wiped out a season, his first year in the league, and the COVID year, which there was a shortened season. He still has a chance. I mean, with everything you just said and thrown in that, it's just as a hockey nerd, I love to see it, and it's just I know hockey in its place nationally for the sports talk shows out there. He's 20 away from breaking Gretzky. Yeah. That's just if it was a baseball record, it'd be on all the time. But I get where we're at.
But it's
hockey.
Still 2 months away. I think, and like that's like if it's a baseball record where a pitcher's about to break it, but you can see it can't happen in 2 months.
Yeah.
Are they going to count it down? Yeah, a little bit, but. You kind of think of Barry Bonds, like once he got within about 8 home runs. You were hearing the nightly coverage of Barry Bonds. I really think once you get down to the last few, you're going to start seeing it. But right now, it's like, he's still 20 away.
Lastly, we have to show the grind that reporters do to get stuff back. Tweet was thrown out. I think is this after the game Saturday or Friday night?
Saturday.
So you are. You can describe. We're going to throw the photo up here. That you are on the ground. I know this position. You're finishing your game story. Give us the lowdown of what you're doing here on Saturday.
Yeah. So I have almost no. I have to catch an airplane after the game, so I have almost no time to write my game story. And so we're waiting for interviews, and I do an interview, and the second the interview ends, you're waiting for the next person to come out, right? Well, that's maybe 1, 2, 3 minutes that I can be writing my story. So I pull out the laptop. You can probably even see the mouse there off to the right side because I spilled coffee on this computer last year, and the little internal mouse doesn't work anymore. So I need the external mouse, and I'm trying to get as much written as I can. Of course, it was an overtime game, so I couldn't write it before it happened. I found a photo. Someone had uploaded, our photo person had uploaded a photo of the game-winning goal. So I'm like, okay, usually I have a photo of each team where you can kind of see it. It's a neutral photo. No matter what happens, it's a good photo. I'm like, well, this was a crazy ending. Is there the game-winning shot that I can find? Sure enough, I found it, put that up. So it's the craziest 20 minutes of the week for me is on Saturday nights on the road, trying to get that out when I fly home that night. And I made it barely, but that's
Got it
where you
done.
save as much time as you can, and it means you're writing there. And then the part you don't see is after that, I order an Uber and I write the rest of it in the back of the Uber. So yeah, crazy times for sports writing.
Man,
But
there it is, man. That's why you're the best. That's awesome. I appreciate you telling that. Just that's for people that don't know, for both print, television, radio. That is hey, just give me the story or just show me the highlights. That's the way of getting it done. It's how the sausage is made is truly on that. Great to see you, bud.
By the way, my dad sent me a photo that he saw that online and was like, "What?" My family's like, "What is this?" And then I just sent a photo of like Jim Nantz interviewing Kelsey after the Super Bowl win and said, "This is what kids think sports journalism is like. This is actually what it is like back in the dark hallway, crouching down to make deadlines."
That's exactly right. Enjoy the weekend, bud, and we'll talk next week, okay?
Thanks, Tom.
Brad Schlossman joins us each and every Friday to chat some UND hockey. Western Michigan starting tonight at 7, then tomorrow at 6. We'll break, wrap up our first hour. Phil Eston on deck, St. Thomas Athletic Director, about the Tommies becoming postseason eligible, their basketball team at the top of the Summit League standings. We'll do that when Hot Mike returns after this.